Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. Ladies and gentlemen, India's Gaganyatri Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is coming back to India after his successful Axiom 4 mission to the International Space Station. Shubhanshu Shukla, he will land in India on Sunday, that is the 17th of August, and is expected to meet the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday. During this meeting, Shubhanshu Shukla will likely share his experiences from the International Space Station mission, which will be valuable for India's maiden human space flight program, Gaganyaan. Captain Shukla, he will also participate in the National Space Day celebrations that are to take place on the 23rd of August, where he will share his insights and experiences with the entire nation. Shubhanshu Shukla's experiences will contribute significantly to India's ambitious Gaganyaan mission, which aims to send an astronaut to space on an Indian rocket from Indian soil by 2027. Remember, India plans to establish its own space station, the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, within the next decade and land an Indian on the moon by 2040. Let's take you back to that conversation between the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Shubhanshu Shukla. Take a look.
शुभ, आप दूर अंतरिक्ष में है, जहां ग्रेविटी ना के बराबर है, पर हर भारतीय देख रहा है कि आप कितने डाउन टू अर्थ है। आप जो गाजर का हलवा ले गए हैं, क्या उससे अपने साथियों को खिलाया?
जी प्रधानमंत्री जी, ये कुछ चीजें मैं अपने देश की खाने की लेके आया था, जैसे गाजर का हलवा, मूंग दाल का हलवा और आमरस। और मैं चाहता था कि ये बाकी भी जो मेरे साथी हैं, बाकी देशों से जो आए हैं, वो भी इसका स्वाद लें और चखें। जो भारत का जो रिच कुलिनरी हमारा जो हेरिटेज है, उसका एक्सपीरियंस लें। तो हम सभी ने बैठ के इसका स्वाद लिया साथ में, और सबको बहुत पसंद आया। कुछ लोग कहें कि कब वो नीचे आएंगे और हमारे देश आए और इनका स्वाद ले सके हमारे साथ।
अच्छा शुभ, अंतरिक्ष की विशालता देखकर सबसे पहला विचार क्या आया आपको?
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सच में बोलो तो जब पहली बार हम लोग ऑर्बिट में पहुंचे, अंतरिक्ष में पहुंचे, तो पहला जो व्यू था वो पृथ्वी का था। और पृथ्वी को बाहर से देख के जो पहला ख्याल और पहला जो थॉट मन में आया वो ये था कि पृथ्वी बिल्कुल एक दिखती है। मतलब बाहर से कोई सीमा रेखा नहीं दिखाई देती, कोई बॉर्डर नहीं दिखाई देता। और दूसरी चीज जो बहुत नोटिसेबल थी, जब पहली बार भारत को देखा, तो हम मैप पे पढ़ते हैं भारत को, हम देखते हैं बाकी देशों का आकार कितना बड़ा है, हमारा आकार कैसा है, वो मैप पे देखते हैं। लेकिन वो सही नहीं होता, क्योंकि वो एक हम 3D ऑब्जेक्ट को 2D यानी पेपर पे हम उतारते हैं। भारत सच में बहुत भव्य दिखता है, बहुत बड़ा दिखता है, जितना हम मैप पे देखते हैं उससे कहीं ज्यादा बड़ा। और जो वननेस की फीलिंग है, पृथ्वी की वननेस की फीलिंग है, जो हमारा भी मोटो है कि अनेकता में एकता, वो बिल्कुल उसका महत्व ऐसा समझ में आता है बाहर से देखने में कि लगता है कि कोई बॉर्डर एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता, कोई राज्य नहीं एग्जिस्ट करता, कंट्रीज नहीं एग्जिस्ट करती। फाइनली हम सब ह्यूमैनिटी का पार्ट है, और अर्थ हमारा एक घर है, और हम सब के सब उसके सिटीजन्स हैं।
Well, the entire nation will be eagerly awaiting Shubhanshu Shukla's homecoming, and that is going to take place tomorrow. Meanwhile, shifting our focus to our other big story, the voter list revision, it continues to be a matter of big contention. The Election Commission, it has stepped in to clarify, stressing that political parties, they are very much part of the voter roll process and must raise objections at the right stage. Amid accusations and countercharges, the Election Commission has now called a press conference tomorrow at 3 p.m. to address concerns head-on. The big question remains, is this a procedural issue being blown up politically, or does it point to deeper trust deficits in the entire system? Meanwhile, there is a big political churn happening ahead in the national capital. Tomorrow, the BJP is set for a crucial meeting to finalize its pick for the post of the vice president. And on Tuesday, the NDA's full parliamentary party will huddle with Prime Minister Modi himself expected to address the MPs. The timing is critical. The last date for filing nominations is August 21st, and the vice presidential polls, they are slated for September 9th. My colleague Vasudha has more details.
Well, the countdown to India's 17th vice presidential poll is all set to begin with the BJP holding a meeting, a parliamentary board meeting of its leaders on the 17th of August tomorrow. With this starts the process of the BJP not just consulting its own leaders but also NDA allies on who the best candidate for the vice presidential polls is going to be. Now remember, the vice president is an important post for the country because whoever becomes a vice president is also the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. Considering the sudden exit of Jagdeep Dhankar as the vice president, given that he cited health reasons, but there are also reports that have suggested this growing distance between the BJP and Jagdeep Dhankar, it becomes imperative for the BJP to not just have a candidate who is consistent, loyal to its ideology and working, but also somebody who is agreeable to its allies, both the TDP and the JDU. Now, following the meeting, the parliamentary board meeting of the BJP, there will be an NDA parliamentary meeting of MPs on Tuesday. And of course, then there'll be a show of strength of the BJP, of the NDA allies, of all the CMs of NDA, of all states and also MPs. And after that, the nomination of the vice president is all set to take place. On Monday, separately, the opposition floor leaders will also be meeting of India bloc allies to discuss what their strategy needs to be when it comes to the vice presidential polls. So all in all, a tough and an intense week when it comes to vice presidential polls. In terms of numbers, the NDA is comfortably placed. It has about 296 MPs in the Lok Sabha and similarly 232 in the Rajya Sabha. So in terms of numbers, it's not sensitive for the BJP, for NDA, but in terms of messaging, to not just to its own allies and to the opposition to the country, it's important for both the India bloc and for the NDA to put forward the best candidate who suits the interests of their voters and also their own working.
Well, a mega infra push for the national capital region with the Prime Minister set to unveil projects worth over 11,000 crore. Delhi NCR, it is getting a double shot of connectivity. 2 expressways that promise to cut travel time drastically and also ease traffic woes. From Noida to Delhi airport in just 20 minutes to Delhi's Urban Extension Road 2 and Dwarka Expressway, opening up new high-speed corridors. The capital is in for a swanky, swift and a seamless ride. Will this finally unlock the traffic gridlocks that have long plagued the commuters? Well, the rescue operations continue on a war footing in Kishtwar. Remember, a tragedy struck the picturesque Kishtwar region of Jammu and Kashmir. It is now gripped by grief, chaos and an urgent race against time. At least 60 people, they have been confirmed dead. At least 100 have been injured and nearly 500 are still missing after that tragedy. What was once a quiet, mountainous district is now ground zero for one of the worst disasters in the recent years. My colleague Nazir Masoodi gets us the details.
After massive cloudbursts on Thursday here in Kishtwar, there were heroes who tried to save lives, get injured out of the devastated area, even retrieve bodies. And you have Ababil Group and the Tariq Memorial. They operate in Chenab Valley. Ababil actually means a bird sent by the god for protection. In fact, they have been doing it all along. Burhan, tell me, we saw you actually working there, retrieving, trying to retrieve bodies, get injured out. You had ambulances. How many ambulances you had to deploy?
Yes, when we got the sad news about the cloud burst, we rushed there with 9 ambulances and approx 40 to 45 volunteers. And late night, we shifted at least 14 injureds from the site of the cloud burst to Atholi subdivision and then to District Hospital Kishtwar. And moreover, the next day, we carried out the रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन देयर एंड और हमने चाहा कि किसी ना किसी तरीके से जो डेड बॉडीज जो है वो डेब्रिज के अंदर जो है वो दब गई हैं, तो कम से कम उन लवाहकीन के लिए, उनके घर वालों के लिए जो है वो आखिरी वो मिल जाए। ये हमारा काम है। जब भी कोई नेचुरल डिजास्टर होता है या एक्सीडेंट्स होता है, क्योंकि आपको मालूम है कि चिनाब वैली जो है एक्सीडेंटल प्रोन एरिया है एंड वी ऑलवेज रिमेन ऑन फ्रंट।
जब हम साइट पे पहुंचे तो वहाँ बहुत सारे स्केर्ड बंदे थे, और जब साइट पे हम पहुंचे तो विद इन नो सेकेंड ऑफ टाइम हमने काम अपना स्टार्ट कर लिया, और जितने भी फ्लड एरियाज जो इफेक्टेड थे उनको हमने वहाँ से निकालने की कोशिश की।
आप कैसे मोबिलाइज करते हैं अपने लड़कों को?
कॉन्टेक्ट करते हैं सर फोन पे ही, जो
आपका कोई व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है?
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स पे हैं हमारे पास ये
तो
सारे कॉन्टेक्ट
क्विकली अवेलेबल होते हैं?
क्विकली अवेलेबल हो जाते हैं सर। सिटी के बीच में ही होते हैं, ज्यादा दूर
तो
नहीं।
सभी लोग पहुंच जाते हैं?
सभी लोग पहुंच जाते हैं, एक जगह पे जमा हो जाते हैं और वहाँ से हम रेस्क्यू के लिए चले जाते हैं।
What motivates you to actually do this job, which is the very difficult, because Chenab Valley is prone to this type of landslides, flash floods, and cloud bursts. It's not first time we see you doing it.
Our aim is khidmat khalaq, that's it.
So you are not concerned about your own safety when it happens.
खिदमत खलक के लिए करते हैं हम।
हाँ। कितने वॉलंटियर्स जो हैं?
वॉलंटियर्स हमारे पास 20 से 25 यहाँ पे हैं। अबाबिल की टीम में है। देखो
अबाबिल की टीम में कितने 250 हैं?
हमारे पूरे जितना भी हमारे यूनिट्स हैं तो करीबन 250 वॉलंटियर्स।
So everybody is willing to go there and help people.
जैसे अभी जो ही ये हादसा पेश आया तो एक मैसेज गया तो सब वॉलंटियर्स आए।
So that is Ababil and Tariq Memorial Trust here in Kishtwar, really doing a human's job, helping people. Ababil is actually living its name, which is Ababil Bird of Protection, and they have been reaching out to people with ambulance, with medicine, and above all, when there was devastation, these people were there on Thursday itself, trying to get injured out and take them to hospitals, and you could see removing the rubble and finding the injured and then helping people here in hospital. Really heroes of Kishtwar. When tragedy struck here, there were these people, along with, yes, officials were there also, but these people, volunteers, who put the service before self and helped the humanity here in this remote area.
And NDTV World's Alistair D'Souza, he spoke with Susan Schwab, who's a former US trade representative and also somebody who has worked under George W. Bush. Listen in.
Ambassador Schwab, though, do you think that it's different, though, this time around? India has been willing to open up, but there are certain sectors like agriculture, dairy. These are important sectors to the country to maintain its food security, to protect its farmers. And this is something really as a no-go. Every country has a prerogative as to what it wants to do. But what I'm trying to say here is perhaps that the issue this time is from the other side, from the Trump administration.
So again, I'm not in the negotiating room, you're not in the negotiating room, and it's really easy to second guess somebody else's trade negotiation. When I was a trade negotiator, somebody was always second guessing my deals or my potential deals. And I would say this, that if there is goodwill and a political backbone on both sides, then a deal is doable and it should be doable. And if one approach doesn't work, then you try another one. And in my experience, Indian trade negotiators can be incredibly innovative. And I would say that the U.S. side should be willing and able to respond, because the U.S. side wants to get the deal done with India as well. And it hasn't been, don't think it's been easy doing a deal with the EU. Don't think it's been easy doing a deal with Japan and so on. Those were not easy deals, including in agriculture.
Ambassador Schwab, here is the United States trying to decouple or de-risk from China. It needs a key ally like India, be it for geopolitical reasons or even in terms of an alternative manufacturing hub to China. How counterproductive really are those India tariffs from a perspective of a long-term view for US interests?
Well, this has been a source of frustration for me, not just now, but going back almost a decade or more. The potential for India to step in and be not just the China plus one, but be the alternative for U.S. businesses has been tremendous for quite some time. U.S. businesses have recognized that, but unfortunately, Indian policies and Indian regulatory environment and tariff environment and uncertainty about doing business in India has made it very, very difficult, if not impossible, for the U.S. companies to do the kind of investing in India that they have been able to do in the past in China. And so I think the U.S. companies would really like to have those kinds of relationships in India for the long term as an alternative to China. Originally, it might have been in addition to China, but really as a better, safer, healthier alternative than China in many cases. And yet, Indian trade policy, Indian regulatory policy frequently makes that difficult.
Ambassador Schwab, thank you so much for your time here on NDTV.
Time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.